News from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe. This is the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Glen Barrows International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, 2nd February 2017. I'm Leslie Joseph. This is the SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. These are the top stories this hour. Nationally, Honorable Marcella Liburd calls the use of containers as classrooms at Bastia High School reprehensible. Regionally, Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister is asking citizens not to panic in the face of new U.S. policies. Internationally, the Mexican president's row with Donald Trump has boosted his popularity among his people. And in sport, Ghana and the Cameroon face off in the Africa Cup of Nations semifinals today. Now for a look at the stories in detail. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party chairperson, Honorable Marcella Liburd, is lamenting the continued displacement of students, of the Bastia High School students. Speaking on Wednesday, Ms. Liburd revealed that she has been informed that a number of shipping containers have been designated for use as classrooms. This, she said, is an insult to the students.
The Bastia High School, as you know, was a major political issue for this government. They talked, they ranted, they raved about it for 2 years before taking office. They're in office now for 2 years, so that's 4 years of talk. 4 years of talk about the Bastia High School. They have refused to accept the scientific findings of even the best in the world when it comes to occupational health and safety. That is NIOSH. All on the altar of politics. They sacrifice our children for politics. Now, it is so very shameful to see that after 4 years, the latest addition to the modern state-of-the-art Bastia High School are about 5 used containers. We understand these are to be used as classrooms for the fifth formers. It is really a disgrace and an insult to our children to put them in containers, used containers as classrooms. Already, the children are scattered all over the place. Avec, Washi, 17 Degrees, Premier Dental, Beach Allen, they're scattered all over the place right now. The original, modern, state-of-the-art high school that they said they opened was not properly planned. So it did not have enough classrooms for all of the children. And now we are adding containers, making it very clear that from the beginning it was just talk, no proper planning, no foresight with respect to the Bastia High School. Just make up as you go, as we have seen all along. And it is totally unacceptable and deplorable that in 2017, our children are being put in containers for classrooms. The public is asking who is really responsible for these containers? Who is really making all this money out of these containers? Because these people, they don't have any children going there, and so they don't really care where the children are put once they make their money. Because, you know, this seems to be a container government. And I'm appealing to parents not to accept this. This is an insult to our children.
She continued that, given the occurrences surrounding the Bastia High School debacle, the use of shipping containers as classrooms is reprehensible.
The only good thing I would say about these containers is that we can use them to ship this government out of office. Put them in there, ship them out for their incompetence, their vindictiveness, the deception, lack of transparency, and the corruption in government. But to put our children in these used containers to us is reprehensible. And again, I'm saying, we, the public, the parents, must not accept this.
Dr. Kelvin Daly, former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture on Nevis, is questioning the inactivity of the Concerned Citizens Movement in respect to development on Nevis for the past 4 years. Referencing a recent flurry of infrastructural activity on the island, Dr. Daly stated that people should not be fooled into believing that things in Nevis are wonderful.
In the last shower of rain, elections are on the doorstep. They're scrambling like blue flies and a dead fish to get things done. One poster was posted at Brazier's about some demon roads up there. Now the whole public works has mobilized to get this road done because elections are coming. Where have they been for the last 4 years? And if people are going to allow themselves to be fooled that this last minute spurt of activity is where real direction and real leadership comes from, you got a mistake coming. Because after the election coming, you're back to square one again. Nothing gets done. This is a no action, no progress party that we are fighting against tooth and nail because they're no good for Nevis. They're no good for the Federation.
Dr. Daly also objected to the system of absentee leadership employed by the CCM administration, as the Premier and the Deputy Premier are almost never on the island.
Those who are listening outside in the greater world, do not be fooled when they come and visit you and tell you how good things are, how wonderful Nevis is. We are on our knees here in St. Kitts and Nevis because of poor leadership. I should say absenteeism leadership. Because our leaders are no longer here in Nevis, they're resident in St. Kitts. And they're hoping that whatever spin-off they get in Nevis is good enough. Whatever investments are made in St. Kitts in tourism or whatever, if we get a little bit of it, it's good enough. Nevis taxpayers didn't pay for that. We didn't pay for that. We are paying 2 people to go to St. Kitts to represent the views and the aspirations of Nevisians. And we're not getting that. We're getting tourism. We're getting tourists who travel into St. Kitts every Monday and come back on Friday. And when they're not in St. Kitts, they're going gallivanting across the world. Bringing back nothing!
Regionally, Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister is urging citizens at home and abroad to remain calm in the face of the unfolding immigration changes occurring under the new U.S. President Donald Trump.
Government has moved to calm growing fears locally and among some Jamaicans in the diaspora about recent events in the United States. Since taking office, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed several executive orders, including one on immigration from 7 Muslim-majority countries, which has raised concerns among Jamaicans. But Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith is urging Jamaicans to remain calm and responsible on the issue. Senator Johnson-Smith says it's extremely unhelpful for persons to incite panic on matters that are very complex, technical, and subject to a lot of uncertainty. She says the Jamaican government is examining the issues and is making every effort to ascertain the scope of the executive orders.
We are in contact with the U.S. Embassy here, and through our missions, we are in contact with the State Department overseas. As soon as we are clear on the advice that we can give to the public on any impact on the Jamaican community, we will do so. Please be assured that we are monitoring these issues closely with your interests at heart.
Minister Johnson-Smith says a request for documentation on the executive orders has been made to the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica and missions in the United States. She says this will ensure that Jamaicans receive accurate information to guide their actions.
Barbados is well known for its iconic flying fish, but this is not the seafood people are turning to for sustenance, according to one Barbados Labour Party prospective candidate. According to Sandra Husbands, life has become so difficult under the Frundle-Stewart administration that many Barbadians are resorting to sardines and ramen noodles to survive.
A Barbados Labour Party political hopeful charges that Barbadians are in such dire straits that some families are being forced to resort to ramen noodles and sardines for breakfast. Sandra Husbands, candidate for the St. James South constituency, who held a public education series recently, laments that the government's harsh economic policies have severely limited spending power, leaving most households struggling to meet basic needs.
We have close to 4,000 children who have to get up every morning and go somewhere for somebody to give them breakfast. That never used to happen in this country. It never used to happen. Children go up on mornings and could say if they want cornflakes,
On the international scene, Enrique Peña Nieto has the lowest approval rating of any Mexican president in decades. He's also facing the country's worst diplomatic crisis with the U.S. in 40 years. But his decision to cancel a visit to the U.S. over Donald Trump's controversial border wall is having a positive impact on his approval ratings. John Holman reports from Mexico City.
Mexicans enjoy a good battle. They pack out arenas to watch Lucha Libre, the country's unique form of wrestling. But until recently, they've been unimpressed with the fight their president, Enrique Peña Nieto, has been putting up. Corruption scandals, underperforming reforms, and an increase in drug violence already had him on the canvas. And then Donald Trump appeared, and Peña Nieto seemed timid, even inviting him to visit during the campaign after he said this about Mexican migrants.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
But last week, the president finally got tougher, cancelling a US trip after Trump signed an order to build a border wall and said Mexico would pay for it. It briefly lifted the country.
I regret and condemn the decision of the United States to continue construction of a wall that, for years, has divided us instead of uniting us.
The crowd here still don't think much of him, but accept that in the worst diplomatic crisis with the US in decades, they now have to get behind their man.
We have to back him up because he represents the country, even though he's not strong.
If we don't support the president, who else can do anything?
His poll numbers have begun to rise again, albeit from the lowest of any president since democracy here. Congress, business leaders, and even political enemies have rallied around him. After years of fierce criticism, Peña Nieto has finally got the chance to be the good guy, but he has to watch out. The next round is likely to be about trade, and if he goes toe-to-toe with Trump, they could seriously damage the US, but Mexico would be hit far harder. Trump wants to change or rip up a more than 20-year-old free trade deal between Mexico, the US and Canada. Peña Nieto says he's going to get the best deal for Mexico. Many doubt he's up to it.
He's going to look weak, but he is weak, so there's no surprise. I mean, I think he's going to try to delegate. He doesn't have really good arguments against Trump, and Trump's personality is really outspoken, and he's like really always like a robot. So it's going to be very difficult to do something face-to-face, these two guys.
For an unpopular president, this could be his chance at redemption. But if he falls short and Mexico loses out, it could also be the end of his political career. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
Thousands of FARC rebels in Colombia are gathering into 26 transition zones across the country, bringing 52 years of war to an end. The rebels, who will stay in the transition areas for up to 6 months, will hand over their weapons before reintegrating into civilian life.
One last march, weapons in hand. These men and women belong to the 59th Front of the FARC that for decades fought the Colombian army in this area of northern Colombia. But as they walk to reach their final destination as an armed group, they shake hands with their once enemies, now here to guarantee their security.
This is not our last march, but the beginning of a new era, the era of peace. We feel good. We are honoring our commitment and we are ready for what's to come.
People from surrounding towns, long at the mercy of the rebels, also came to receive them.
We wanted to see this new reality, our long-sought peace, and we want the FARC to know that they are not alone, that we are supporting their process, and that all of Colombia wants peace.
Over 6,000 members of the FARC have stepped out of the jungle, making their way to United Nations-controlled transition areas. Hundreds of pickup and cargo trucks, buses and boats have been deployed to facilitate the move in what the government describes as an unprecedented logistics operation.
Nobody would have believed in Colombia even a few years ago that this would happen, that all of the FARC, the largest guerrilla force ever in Latin America, would march through the fields, would get on boats and sail down rivers and all gather and concentrate in the zones.
Since Colombia signed a revised peace deal last year, implementation has been moving slower than expected.
In the days leading up to the transfer, FARC complained that most camps were not ready, which is the case here too. But the government insists that things are moving forward. Bathrooms, clean water and electricity are in place, and the FARC agreed to build their own wooden houses.
Pues uno ve aquí una explanación.
You still see a barren landscape here. Building hasn't started, but the bases are there, and we believe the government will honor its commitment.
Sabemos que el gobierno va a cumplir.
The rebels will stay in the transition areas for up to 6 months. They will be registered, hand over their weapons, and start the reintegration process into civilian life. Much could still go wrong, but many in Colombia hope this finally means that soon the armed conflict here will be history. Alessandro Ampietti, Al Jazeera, Pondores, Colombia.
And now we take a look at sport. In news from the Africa Cup of Nations, Ghana is preparing to take on Cameroon today. However, it is unclear whether the Ghana Black Stars captain and star player Asamoah Gyan will feature in the game against the Cameroon Lions.
Meanwhile, the second Cup of Nations semi-final takes place in Franceville, where Ghana will take on Cameroon. The Black Stars held training on Wednesday, but assistant coach Maxwell Kanadu has remained mum on the chances of Captain Asamoah Gyan featuring against the indomitable Lions. Thursday's semi-final is a repeat of the 2008 tournament, where Cameroon faced the then hosts Ghana. 9 years ago, the Lions won 1-0. This time around, Ghana will be hoping to improve on their impressive record of 6 consecutive semi-finals at the Continental Tournament.
We are all very sad when Gyan limped off the pitch the last time. And we thought it was going to be a very, very serious injury. But hopefully our doctors have been working on him since then. And gradually he's picking up. We can't confirm at the moment whether he's going to play or not, because the doctors are still working on him. But he was able to, jog and do some small ball work yesterday. So hopefully we just have to wait and see what happens. But for now, we can't confirm.
We have to be well composed, relaxed, calm, because they can be surprised tomorrow. But like how I said at first, we already have a series of meetings and you know how to tackle every game. I hope what happened to those countries didn't happen to us. For sure it will never happen. So we are aware of that, and we will concentrate on the game and make the nation proud.
And that item brings us to the end of the Kiss FM SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrow's Pest Control and Guest House. Join us again at 5:45 for our comprehensive evening news package. I am Leslie Joseph.
Glen Barrows International Pest Control provides a comprehensive approach for a pest-free environment for both residential and commercial clients. Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.